Hello, hello, can people, right, hello, we're here, we're live, now it's time for the Can People Hear and See Robin game. So, do let us know in the comments below if you can see and hear Robin. I mean, I can see and hear him. Can you hear me, mother? You do, you do. This could be our very last suboptimal broadcasting. And Zach says they cannot hear you, so I'm going to get rid of you now. Right, and Robin is gone. And now it's just me, everybody. It's just the Pete show. Robin's there screaming in the background in my ear, as always. Right, here we go. Hopefully a giant Robin has appeared again.
Giant Robin.
Anybody who has any
Christmas
experience,
time, the perfect time for a giant Robin.
Anybody who has any experience of OBS and does this, which I'm guessing is probably nobody, but if anyone does, then do let me know if you experience this problem. But hopefully you can hear Robin now. Hooray!
Hello,
everybody can see and hear you.
Giant Robin is here.
Hello to everybody tonight for joining us. Can't believe we've already got double-digit figures, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's quickly run down the list. We've got Andrew, we've got Edred, we've got Marco, we've got No Beef Just Party, we've got David, we've got Matt, we've got Zach, we've got Andrew again, we've got Matt again, we've got Rob, we've got Edward, we've got Matt, we've got Andrew, we've got everyone.
Stop reading out names.
It's everybody. Hello to all of you, and if I missed you somehow, I don't know how, but hello and welcome aboard the show. Tonight we have many things to talk about.
Yeah, Pete and I naively thought we might need to come up with a theme for this evening's chat. It's because we were sort of feeling the general chat was not getting stale, but just, actually maybe it'd be nice if we had a specific thing to talk about, and then Games Workshop have given us a deluge of information and things to
ton.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know where to start. I guess we should probably start.
It's just all been so sudden. It's just, oh my god. I mean, the last we had some questions, as always. We had a list of questions for our patrons, and thank you for those. I don't know if we're going to be able to actually focus on tonight though, because GW suddenly dumped an FAQ on us. They proper fact our whole evening up, and we've got Ripper Snarlfangs as well.
I like it. See what you did there.
Did like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got the White Dwarf that we subscribe to, and I was going to talk about that tonight, but I didn't even get to read it because I've been reading all the FAQs and everything. I've got the Predator card here. I don't know who's got their White Dwarf from this month, but I don't know. I haven't even got around to reading how that works.
I read a very brief description of that online, and it sounded crap.
Right.
So I'm probably never going to play it. It's just, I think it makes more offensive games a thing again.
Okay.
And it's just like, no, I don't. We had a whole season of that. I don't need that anymore.
Yeah,
Thanks
we don't need that again.
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right.
Nobody's just
so what are we going to
he's
start
had a lot
with?
of issues with OBS. So we have somebody who feels our pain at least. So, but hopefully this is going to be our last suboptimal broadcast, because we've got some new machines coming, and they might be here in time for next week. You might be able to see our faces in slightly more high def. So Ed asks already, I don't know how frequently you get asked this question, but what is an FAQ?
I don't know. I've really got no idea.
I think we get asked frequently, in fact, what that question is. So,
but I think that might be the first time anybody's asked me.
Oh, that could be.
But anyway.
It's an IFAQ, an infrequent FAQ.
Yes.
So let's start with the FAQ. Let's smash on with that and see what
and
things
hello
are
to
in
Philip
there.
Lancashire, just popped in. So hello to him.
So let's run through the FAQ, the new changes, not obviously everything that's in the FAQ, just the new stuff and any oh my god moments that might have arisen from that. And we are reading this probably about the same time as you guys are. So do excuse us for sitting here going and whilst we try and work out what we want to say to you. But one thing I did notice, Robin, is it does say in the designer's commentary right at the top on the pages, if an objective token is flipped, no, that's the wrong one. What happens first in a roll off to decide which player goes first in an action phase with the abilities that are resolved at the start? The roll off is first. So for the
we've debated. I think we've played that wrong, haven't we?
We might have done.
We
always thought that
I don't think it really matters that much.
Well,
I think we did, but I don't think it matters a little bit.
Because if you win the roll and you know you're going to be going first, it might influence where you put your ghoulies.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, if you're going to have to wait, you might keep your ghoulies in reserve or something.
Sum them up somewhere else. Keep your ghoulies safe.
Yes.
Keep your ghoulies safe. Yeah. One rule.
Anyway, let's stop talking about ghoulies. Yeah.
So there's that one. I do love the fact there's someone here which is, what do away and further away mean? Well, the same thing. Just what do you want?
Yeah, that's an interesting one though, because there are a few. There's a couple of push ploys now which are push two, and I guess I don't know. There's a possibility you could try and push them around a corner and not actually end up further away. I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
But you do both things have to be further away, which might make a difference if there was an objective or a lethal hex in a particular position. Might make a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's good to have the clarification.
I'm just grabbing the links to the new FAQs as requested in the channel. I'm going to send the links to the FAQ page in the chat, but it's pretty much like one of the very first documents that you can download in there, so it's pretty easy to get to. warhammercommunity.com/FAQ. So there you go. I do like, there was one in there, can a fighter on guard ever be trapped? Well, a fighter on guard can't ever be pushed back, so how could they ever be trapped? Again, this is one of those things that to me seems blindingly obvious, but I can...
Surely not more blindingly obvious than can a fighter be adjacent to themselves.
This is what it doesn't annoy me. I mean,
Yeah.
some people obviously feel that these questions need to be asked, but it means we end up with a 15-page FAQ. And it's just, and there's questions in there like, can I use the board my opponent picked? No, of course you can't. Why isn't that obvious?
One key one, just looking down here, if a fighter is out of action, can they become inspired? The answer is no. I think most people knew that, but it's good to have it in black and white, or red and white, as
I
it
think
is
this
here.
is one of those things where people say, technically it doesn't say, and as we've discussed in the past, whenever you have to prefix something with technically, you already know you're pushing the boundaries of acceptable play.
It's an easy one to forget, especially playing the Grimwatch, where you all inspire, and you just kind of, they've all inspired, and then you suddenly realise that actually one of them shouldn't have done. But yeah, I think it's good to have it there written so everybody knows.
No Beef Just Party says, stops people pushing one back and one forward so they don't move, I guess, as well. Yeah, true, yeah, there is that. So what else have we got in here? Things like, if my fighter has a reaction that works after an attack action that targets them, does that still work if they're out of action? Well, no, they're dead. So again, surely that was fairly obvious, but maybe not. So okay, benefit the doubt there.
I guess it's for things like there's the Ilthari's reaction,
or
things
spiteful charm
do
and
make
stuff
the
like
reaction.
that. I mean, you've got things like the Mirror of Spite though, which specifically says if you're taken out of action, then this thing does damage to everybody. So that should make it sort of clear that the other cards don't do that unless because this is its ability. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Are spell attack actions also considered to be attack actions? Yes. Again, kind of obvious, hopefully, but I guess they need to really clarify these kind of things.
Yeah, I had a quick scan through of John's write-up of it, and he says something like, I'm wrong on this one, and I don't really understand why anybody would think a spell attack action wasn't an attack action, but maybe I've missed something subtle somewhere along the line.
Isn't it? Spell attack action.
So, I mean, I don't know. But
one thing I'm not sure that they've clarified in here, and I haven't spotted in anybody who's reading the FAQ whilst listening to us blather, if you do spot it, let me know. I don't think it's clarified in here anywhere that if you attack someone and you drive them back, if that's counted as a push.
Somewhere else it talks about mirror move responding to a push back from a drive back.
Let's see if we can find
so it's kind of like inferred that you can do it, but it doesn't actually state it. Probably we never asked the question.
Mirror move. If my opponent plays a card that pushes more than one fighter, like Vile Invaders, can I play this card as a reaction after any of those fighters? It says you can play this card as a reaction after an opponent pushes any fighter, even if they're partway through resolving a rule. That doesn't really clarify it, though.
No, I don't think it's part of Mirror Move.
Okay.
I think it's part of a different card, and it just happens to mention in passing something about the drive back. I can't remember where it was, but if it comes up, we'll mention it. Somebody, I Am Tib, has asked a question, which is he's at a loss regarding the Crown of Avarice. Now, that's actually in the errata rather than the. But I think that we might as well jump to that because it is quite a big one. So I'm gonna go over to there because somebody's specifically asked the question. So Crown of Avarice is now reaction during an opponent's gambit or during an enemy fighter's attack action that will take this fighter out of action. After the deal damage step, pick one opponent to take up to one of their unspent glory points. Well, this does two things, and I can't remember what the old wording exactly was, but it now means if you die, if you'd like martyr yourself, nobody gets a glory. You can't get a glory under any circumstances from your
Because
opponent.
people would quite often put that on and then run through lethal hex, kill themselves, score martyred, and get that as well.
Yeah, so you can't do that anymore. And then I think the key thing, and it makes a lot more sense, is that it can only be done. It's done during an opponent's gambit or an enemy fighter to take action that will take them out of action after the deal damage. Yet pick one opponent and take one of their unspent glory points. So it basically now means that you can't. Where it used to be that you could.
Well, the minute your opponent killed you, you basically took the
Sorry,
glory.
I've lost the word. Yes, you took the glory that they earned for killing you. You can't do that anymore. You can only take their existing glory and not the one. And I don't really know why they ever ruled it anything other than that.
Yeah. But this is another one of those things where you see the ruling that they give and you just go, really? Is that what you're going to stick with? That's your final answer? Because
it almost meant that Crown of Avarice wasn't quite going to be on the Forsaken list, but it almost guaranteed it was going to end up on the restricted list. Now I'm not so sure. Now it's still pretty strong.
Yes.
But it's not.
If you're at a point in the game early on, it can be a real game changer, because if you've got maybe 1 or 2 glory each, for example, and then your opponent puts that on them, you can maybe be canny and spend all your glory on objectives before you take that person out and render it useless. So it definitely makes it more of a risk now than an obvious take that it used to be.
I mean, good at the end of the game, because most people have leftover glory at the end of the game.
But by the end,
always. But an interesting one, and I've just noticed as we're in the errata, there isn't much in the errata. The other one is the prize vendetta. They've changed to read basically. I think it kind of was ambiguous as to whether it meant all dice, whether it was either no dice or all dice, and now they've changed it so that it is any dice.
Wigglefish has pointed out that it also happened after the fighter was dead, which didn't really make any sense. It happens now when the fighter is killed, which makes much more sense.
Yes.
Zach Matthews does ask, are people this petty in competitive play? He's never played competitively. I will say that generally, I can't really attest to this, so other people who are watching or listening who have played a lot more competitive games than us do chime in. But personally, I played in one Grand Clash and I didn't have a single petty moment from anybody.
No.
If anything, people were really, really generous, really very friendly, and would quite happily say, oh crap, I meant to score this card last turn, do you mind me doing that now? And people are like, nah, whatever, grab the glory, grab a new objective, I don't care. So no, I think most of these probably come out of general probably smaller tournament play, more local scene stuff maybe.
I don't know, I think it's almost one of those things though that in face to face with your opponent, nearly everybody is accommodating and nice, and especially in Shadespire, it's like a very friendly group. But when you're creating your deck, which is a bit more on your own, people try and look for advantage wherever they can find it. So although I don't particularly like it, I wouldn't say it was petty. It's just one of these, just the nature of any of these types of games where things are ambiguous. People always look for trying to get the most advantage out of it as they can. But of course, pretty much everybody can, because it doesn't take very long for somebody to make a new interpretation of a card, and then everybody knows it. So it's a slightly odd one, but I have to say I think it's the sort of thing that happens at home when you're working out your deck rather than at the table. Not that I say I haven't got any more experience than Pete has.
But I think this is the same as any game really. You can sit down and intend to have quite a friendly game, even with a friend, and get to a rule where you think, well, it's obviously A, and your opponent sits there and says, well, no, it's obviously B. And we did that with the Ghoul Call rule, I think it was. And luckily, I edited out all the swearing that we had in the fighting, and where I elbow dropped you through the table and stuff. We set it all up again afterwards. But yeah, you were right on that one, and I still think it was a bad ruling. But whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I think a lot of these things just come up where you just think going, well, it's not actually clear, so we do need a ruling on some of this. I mean, some of these do still feel really obvious to me, but at the same time, at least we've got a final word on all of these cards.
No Beef Just Party agrees with you, Pete, that you could panic force people to spend glory when they might not want it to because of the card that I forgot the name of, because I'm getting old. The one we were just talking about, Crown of Avarice. Thank you, Crown of Avarice. Yeah, I suppose it's a bit like Daylight Robbery in that respect.
just most of our Patreon viewers didn't get the cut version. Well, we do put outtakes on our Patreon channel quite often. I've got several minutes worth that I need to chuck out soon as well, but they've got about 15 videos now of outtakes of us doing stupid things and saying stupid stuff. So
Which is a lot of stupid things.
very many stupid things. One thing I will say that I don't like in this errata, and you've already said that you don't care and you think it's okay, and it really grinds my gears, that when you place the ghoul counter and summon a ghoul, if you have your boards offset and the line goes off of one board across nothingness and comes back on another board, you trace that line, and that really bugs me.
I don't see what you're getting at. What your problem is? Because it's the furthest point, and that is still the furthest point.
Me for two reasons.
It's how escalate. It's how not escalation. It's how bloody hell words. It's how extreme flank. It's how extreme flank should have been ruled, and it's just an extension
of the board, and you have to come off. It's a bit like, it feels a bit like to me where if
it's not hard. It's just a straight.
If you listen, shut up, right? Sorry. I know. It's really petty of me to find this annoying. But at the same time, it's a bit like having a tank that has to move a certain minimum distance and having it go off the board, turn around and come back on the board. Go, well, that's fine, because I measured it out and then I measured it back in again, and that's okay. And you're taking it off of the board.
It's not like that at all.
Shut your mouth.
But anyway,
it annoys me because I can see it being a pain where you're going to have to get a half of a board and put it down so you can trace the hexes, because not everybody can visualize the hex layout. And so you're going to have another half board just to see where that line is and where those hexes go. And it just seems janky as fuck to me. Really don't like it. It should just stop at the edge of that board and stay there. Who's with me?
You just used a rude word.
Well, we're live.
We don't use
this. Isn't PG. This isn't PG. This is... Yes. I don't know what the...
So I apologise for Pete getting overexcited about something.
I'll beep it out later on. It just annoys me that you have to go off the board. It's like, come on, you could have come up with a better solution than that. Come on. Boo, like my solution.
But yes, the key thing really, though, is that you can't place it on the scatter token, which somebody in the comments said that was a good thing, and they are. That was Philip. Yes, I agree with you, and also even better that you can't do it. You can't do the ghoul call or the muster when you haven't got anybody on the board. Or sorry, we've got everybody on the board.
If everybody's still alive, you can't call someone. And again, these all seem like things that they should have spotted in play testing. These are things when you get the first wording of the rules and you go, well, what about X, Y, and Z? You know, any of these rules can be drawn out in a flowchart. I'm a big fan of flowcharts, and it's, you know, so it only takes somebody with a logical mind. I'm not saying I have a logical mind, but someone who's going to think about it in really straightforward terms to just say, what if this and this and this? And nobody's done that with some of these things, and they've probably been testing the rules to make sure the warbands play okay, and they've never come across this scenario in those games. But it just feels like there's nothing, no one's sitting there going, well, this wording sucks. And I know GW maybe have a little bit of history in that, but...
It seems, Pete, that I'm outnumbered. There's lots of people agreeing with you that we're the board. But I mean, I think, you know, PJ, I'm particularly disappointed because it was me who posted that stuff out to you, not Pete. But he agrees with you anyway. And I do see that argument, but they've ruled it that way, and I don't mind because it's a playing field rather than I don't see it as a dungeon. True. But anyway,
I think it's because it's an uneven board, and most games they do it's a square or an oblong or whatever, and so there's no coming off the board and coming back on. But this one, Anyway, we. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. But it could just as easily change. That is the kind of ruling that they might look a bit like the Crown of Avarice ruling. They could easily backpedal on that if they decide it's too difficult or confusing. And, I can see that they could backpedal, and I'd be fine with that. It just doesn't annoy me the way it is at the moment.
I spotted one further up from Andrew Marlowe. If we make a casting roll for a spell attack action on 3 dice, then use 2 incantations to change one of the results so they all match, can I score 1 fate? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Was that a no before? I guess they were saying that.
I think it was already in the FAQ. But BJ's reversed his opinion.
Sell out.
He's now in.
Sell out. So, I mean, again, that one where you use a card to change the dice roll seems obvious to me that, well, that's your final result. But I guess technically you didn't roll the dice and get the same value. And in those
but they also like the fact they also had to clarify that if you rolled it and then changed it, would that count? Yeah. So well, they can't. I suppose it's fair enough that they clarified it because they can't both count, and they've ruled it that way. But Does anybody take one fate? Anybody take one fate? I don't think I've ever
I don't
taken
think
it.
I've ever taken it, but is it 2 glory, isn't it? So I
Is
don't
it?
know what your chances of rolling 3 of the same on 3 dice to get 2 glory.
It's about 1 in 1 million, I think.
It's about that, yeah. I think I'd rather, if I was going to go for a card like that, I'd probably go for the fighter one where you have to roll 2 crits, because you've only got to roll 2 crits and you get 2 glory instantly. I can't remember the name
I hate
of the
that
card
card. Peerless
though.
Fighter.
That's
I hate
the one,
that
yeah.
card. It's a stupid card.
It's the card you always know once you get rid of it, you're going to roll 2 crits.
It's a stupid card. I think I have scored it. But I think I rolled it. I think I rolled 10 dice once and didn't score it. 2 lots of 5 because I got to re-roll and I didn't score it. So it's a stupid card. I hate it.
Andrew Morris says he's a 1 fate peerless fighter type of guy. Psychopath, you mean? Philip Lancashire asked, what do we think the cards will be that are being released as part of the gift pack? Well, we are going to come on to that one in a little while. We want to quickly run over the errata stuff first, so we will come back to that, hopefully very quickly. But oh my god, there's loads of comments coming out.
Price politics. Oh gosh, goodness me! I try to avoid price politics, but we can touch on that later too when we talk about the forthcoming releases.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. Tend to try and avoid politics in the here in the UK at the moment. It's just not worth it.
I think. I mean, my basic thought on that is just it's a luxury product, and GW are going to charge silly money for it, and some of their pricing structures don't.
That's not coming back to it. That's talking about it now. Goodness me.
Yeah, I know. All right, sorry. Okay, errata stuff. What other errata interesting have we got? Which is very aware I haven't read this list at all, really. I have
read it. If seized weapon takes an enemy fighter out of action in the end phase, can objectives such as defending the hearth and be scored if they are in hand. I love that. I think that's brilliant.
So hang on. But you score your objectives first.
No, but if you so say you score an objective, get a glory, have enough money to put not defending the half, have enough money to put seized weapon on somebody, and that does a damage when you put it on them, doesn't it? Okay, so that would then kill them in the end phase. And if you do that, you can score defending the hearth because that's take somebody out in your half.
But so you can score some of your objectives, put on an upgrade, and then score another objective. But that throws it out the sequence.
It's very, very niche because it's score immediately.
Yeah, true.
It's very, very niche. It's very, very niche because there aren't very many that you could do that with. There aren't very many things that do damage when you play them. In fact, that seized weapon might be the only one.
That is possibly the only one. I think it's.
I don't know if you can score martyred if you put Ghoulish Pact or something on your fighter. Kill them and score martyred.
Yeah, can you do that?
So, nothing I've ever thought about.
There's nothing saying you can't actually. I don't know.
I don't think there is.
Ed says I'm a people pleaser. Why am I a people pleaser? What did I do? Oh, just trying to answer all the questions. I assume yes.
Yeah.
The trouble is we have so much I want to talk about now. We've only got like an hour, so I'm like, I need to talk about everything. So what else did you spot, Robin? What else did you see?
In the FAQ, there's somebody just asking about Ripper's cards as well, which we did see, and again we'll try and cover it. So we kind of covered Ghoul Call. I'm up to the Grimwatch upraise to seized weapon.
This is what he's like when we're playing a game and he's reading all his cards. It's very helpful.
One interesting thing I did notice was the Drizzt. Drizzt can use his action on his fighter card to make a move action himself, even if he's got no squigs, which kind of sounds like irrelevant, but it's not irrelevant if you've got to keep them guessing, because it will count as a card action. But yeah, otherwise that's fairly straightforward, I think. I'm just looking for the pink bits.
Yeah. People are talking about the putting the models together, and I find you have to shave the pegs on the models just to make them a little thinner. So if you do put glue on them, it helps them fit easier. But also, don't put glue on the pegs or in the holes. Put it sort of around the lip of the hole that the peg goes into, and generally around the edge of the model. I find is always the best way of doing it.
Yeah, they changed calculated risk, but it's still not quite how I want it, which I misread earlier. You can you can't score calculated risk going through a lethal hex, then running around it and going back through it and dying.
Calculate risk martyred combination.
Yeah, so you can do it. You can do it on different lethal hexes still, which I think is silly. Yeah. But you specifically can't do it on the same lethal hex. So you can't
forward again.
Yeah, so I don't like the fact that you could do it at all, score martyred and calculated,
No.
which get the same action.
I thought that was stupid from the start, really.
I think they should change that, but they haven't. So
It's what it is.
anyway, and then I was looking at Mandastart. Now, Mandastart, Andrew's asked a very specific question about Mandastart, and I think we'll perhaps answer it now as well as doing
Go for it.
this. But so Mandastart basically. Does the Mandastart also apply to attack actions the fighter gains from upgrade cards? The answer is yes. I think that's fairly self-evident, but it does. And then, does it affect spell attack actions? And the answer is yes. But obviously, you can always roll a crit, but obviously that's not much chance of doing that, is there? Really, especially as you don't normally get very many spell attack action dice.
Slim at least, but yeah.
And Andrew's question, I think, was, I don't know if it was specifically around Mandastart or whether that's something he's asked in a different arena, but basically he thinks that Mandastart currently is the closest thing you can get to a negative play experience, because basically if you're operating Hammer Fighter, or I think more specifically a Vortibus who uses spell attack actions, then Mandastart closes them down,
it really does.
and there's nothing you can do. And I can see where he's coming from. I kind of feel like cards like that encourage you not putting all your eggs in one basket, which I generally think is a good thing.
I agree.
And it's a problem in the sense that Mollog is uber powerful, and having him closed down, it serves you right for not having an alternative. But Vortibus and the Eyes of the Night, it's quite hard to come up with good ways of winning with them. So it seems a bit harsh that they have a way that could just completely close them out. That said, I think you can build a deck with the Eyes of the Nine, which I think you can either rely on Kacharik or Vortibus, and your upgrades that you're going to put on Vortibus mostly. You can still use it for other spells, and then use Kacharik. Maybe. Yeah. I don't. But yeah, so I
Mandastart isn't necessarily an game ender because it's got to come out, so you've got to actually get it, and you've got to get a fighter over there, which is also another blocker. So it's not an instant win card, but if you do get it on, it will make the game tougher for people who have to.
Yeah, I don't particularly like the card, I have to say. It's one of those ones, I haven't got the exact text in front of me, but it's one of those cards that I don't really like. I don't like that. Having said, it stops people having putting all their eggs in one basket. I don't really like the cards that shut down the opponent, I suppose. I feel like the game should be more open than that. But it's...
Yeah. I did notice an interesting one where someone's asked for the objective finish them, which is score if you kill someone by doing 1 damage. They're saying if I use a 1 damage attack that's been increased by like Glory Seeker or Inspired Attack, can I still score this? Like, it literally says in there your attack's got to be 1 damage. No. I have noticed that there is a bit of confusion has again arisen from the use of tokens and states, so that certain cards will put you on guard. That doesn't mean you get a guard token, but you are still on guard. So it's like, so all the places where people said, do I put a guard token on them if they've got this card? And the GW said, no, you don't put the tokens on there, they're just on guards. Like, why not just put the token on there? It makes it less confusing, and people are going to remember.
Well, it's because if you charge, you lose your guard token. That's why.
True.
So it's a permanent guard token, and that's why you don't put it on. I think
you could just leave it next to them because you know they're not going to lose it when they charge.
You could, but then they've got other rules which talk about tokens. I think it's it is a problem. I think, but I think not putting it on is the best solution.
True. And Philip Langshaw has mentioned that Mandastart has a keyword poison. I guess we'll see other cards with this type of effect. Well, we have seen one other poison card already.
There was a spoiled one somewhere, wasn't there?
Yes, and it basically meant every time you made a move action, you took a wound, which could be quite interesting. Could be very handy to stick on somebody you want to try and lock down and stop them from running around.
Yeah.
So that one's pretty cool.
And I reckon there's going to be some sort of Master of Poison, Acolyte, Cataphrane type card to do with all the poison things. Maybe a whole warband thing, like if you get them all in your hunters or something, then you get a glory if each of your hunters is carrying a poison weapon. That'd be quite cool, actually. I quite like that.
Quite funky. Although the poison doesn't go on you, does it? It goes on them. You have to inflict them with the poison. So
I can't remember. Is it an upgrade?
It's a ploy. No, it's a ploy. I think.
Oh, it's a ploy. Okay.
I think it's just a ploy, and you play it, and that's it. So yeah. Okay. Carl Beachy shouts Nurgle. Don't know why he shouts Nurgle, but yep. I'm all for it.
Poison, I suppose.
Oh yeah, poison, disease, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And VJ said if either you're going to use tokens to symbolise a mini's state, or you're going to use them to create rules, interactions, trying to do both just confuses things. Kind of agree there.
Yeah.
It's just like, you put a token on here, but you don't here, and yeah, it's a bit annoying.
Yeah, it is a little bit confusing. I definitely agree with that. Going back to the
other, obviously, if you guys have any questions about any particular rules, we've got the FAQ here. I have posted it further up in the chat. Do shout if there's any particular questions you have, and we can try and find out the answers for you.
Yeah, lots of things around Baffling Illusion, which is not a card we really play, but Baffling Illusion and Master of Mayhem. Master of Mayhem being the one that if you score, I think if you play three scattered cards or actions. But actually, Baffling Illusion, if you play it with scatter, if you play Baffling Illusion and your own fighter scatters as a result, you can count that as two cards of actions towards scoring Master of Mayhem. I almost want to build a Goblin deck now that has that combination in it. I think because I played the Gits. I played the Gits this week, or the forthcoming Patreon one, and then it'll be a week later, not on Patreon. It was an interesting deck, but I now want to include that, so I might have to go back and play the Gits again.
BJ wants to know how long it takes me to wash my beard. Hours and hours. You end up with one of those scenes where you see the woman jump with her hair when all splashing up in the air and sort of sideways, but with the beard. But anyway, but there might be children watching, so I don't want to talk about that too much.
And then Wall of Force, they've got right at the end, Wall of Force is another confusing interaction. It's kind of like pretty much, I think, taken as read that an attack action fails if it doesn't do any damage. And then they created an attack action that doesn't do any damage, which immediately gives them a problem. So the question is, can Wall of Force result in a successful attack action even when it deals no damage? And the answer is obviously yes. But again, I feel like that was something that they could have avoided, maybe.
Yeah. So overall, not many massive, shocking rulings here for the most part.
No.
Hello, Jason. But yeah, there's a few little bits in here that irk me in a few places, but nothing too much.
No, I guess the big things for me are the change to Crown of Avarice, slightly less so Prize Vendetta, because I think I tended to think it should have been played the way they've FAQ'd it anyway, even though I didn't say that. And the Ghoul Call clarification, I think they're the big things, aren't they?
So we had we did have some questions posted to us when we're probably not going to cover most of them this evening from our Patreons, but one thing that was covered, that was asked, I think, multiple places and in this chat, which was, what do we think is going to be in the gift box? So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I'll go even further back than that to start off with. I feel there seems to be, and I don't know whether it's just the way Games Workshop do their community posts or what it is, but there seems to be a lot of confusion about what's coming and whether it will be legal, and which I can sort of see, but at the same time, it's taken me by surprise how many different ways there are of interpreting it. I don't know whether you think whether you've noticed that, Pete, but I feel like the Beastgrave gift pack, which they've said is going to have Shadespire cards in it.
Well, cards not seen since Shadespire, it says.
Okay.
So maybe it's got that card in there that I lost like 2.5 years ago, and I didn't know to find for my Severin's Champions.
It said Universals. So,
good point.
But anyway, so there's, and I think there's some people saying, well, yeah, what's the point of having those because we can't use them? Well, they very clearly said at the beginning of the season that although they're rotating them out, any that are named the same, you can use. So I think you could definitely use. This pack will definitely be usable in Championship play.
Yep.
And then other people have moaned, well, now I've got to buy them all again. Well, you haven't, because you've already got them in the Shadespire, and the names are the same. You can use them.
Thrown them away.
Unless you've thrown away. But who would do that?
No.
What sort of monster does that? Andrew.
Sorry.
And
sorry.
and I forgot what I was going to say.
You've still got them. You can use them.
So you can use them. I think there might be some slight changes to wording, like confusion is reworded, isn't it, to be place?
Yeah.
So that but I think they will essentially be the same. So you'll be able to use them straight off, and then the similar thing with the Dreadfane. Again, it's confusing, but the Dreadfane box will only have the warband specific cards from Dreadfane in it. So it's the 2 warbands and 64 cards, and they're the 32 that come in the Dreadfane box, and there won't be any universals. And you won't need to buy it if you already own Dreadfane. I've seen all those things asked, but I don't think there's anything that I've missed there.
No, I think the Dreadfane box is just going to be the 2 Dreadfane warbands in one box, and 64 cards for those 2 warbands, which will be the stuff from the Dreadfane box.
No universals.
Sorry?
No universals or whatever.
No universals from what we can see, and I mean there's nothing in their release that suggests there will be any universals. I presume that there will be a secondary pack that comes out later on that can be used both with the standalone Dreadfane game and with Underworlds in general as well. Is my assumption anyway.
I think so. So sorry, I've been reading all the comments and now I forgot which one I was going to reply to.
All of them.
All of them, yeah. I want to.
So we're going to talk about what we think is going to be in there, and I mean, honestly, I think we're going to see all of the classic Shadespire cards. So I think we're going to see Ready for Action. I think we'll see Superior Tactician. Do you think? I reckon so. I reckon we're going to see all of those cards that.
Wow.
That
shocking! I don't totally disagree.
Oh, do you? Well, we can't all.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think there will be very many, if any, restricted cards.
Oh, okay. But bear in mind,
they've taken them off.
Bear in mind, in the Relic version of the game, which is the only version that you can play with Season 1, things like that aren't restricted or banned, I don't think.
No, but I don't think they're really supporting Relic play. I think Relic play is what is for people who want to play with all their collection. But I don't think they're that bothered about it. I think they're going to be bringing back the interesting cards from Shadespire that kind of got written out, but people might want to play now.
I think if we do see cards like Ready for Action, because Marcel was saying that if Ready for Action comes back, he'll quit. I don't think we'll see them available for tournament play now, current championship format tournament play. I don't think you'll be able to bring Ready for Action back to the next Grand Clash, for example.
Well, but you can, unless they forsake it.
Well...
So I think,
possibly.
so that would be ridiculous to bring it back and then say you can't use it. So I think because nobody would buy it. So I think it will be non-restricted cards.
But I guess in that instance, if they are.
Having said that, sorry, go on.
Go on.
As I say, having said that, the very first card in my list of cards is Alone in the Darkness, which was restricted.
Yeah, Alone in the Darkness, and I liked Escalation for the reasons we've discussed in the past. In that, it's an obvious choice. But it's so obvious that nearly everybody has it, and it means everybody gets that glory train rolling. But now you don't need it as much. So thanks for all the fish, Escalation, but we don't need you anymore, really.
Yeah. So I don't think they're bringing Escalation. Isn't in my list of I've got 10 objectives. I think they could said there'd be 12, but I've got 10 objectives that I think might come back.
Shardfall, Andrew suggested Healing Potion. Maybe. Shardfall, because loads of people have a Shardfall token. They can't use it anymore.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, well, actually, that's a reason for not bringing it back, isn't it? Because even if you
need a token.
haven't got Shadespire, you haven't got a token, so you can't use it. I hadn't thought about that.
Tactics, possibly.
Well, again, it's restricted, so I don't think they'll bring it back. But they might, because it's not that powerful. But I think it would be restricted. But I think that I've tended to think they will mostly bring back cards which promote the objective style control play, so distraction. I think we might see confused priorities. I'm doing the ploys rather than the objectives. Confused priorities, hidden paths, possibly. I think might come back, and spectral wings, the speedy cards. But then I thought Shower Gale as well might come back because that's quite good fun, and it opens up a different kind of type of play and could be quite devastating against some of the more powerful small body count, large body count, small wound count, warbands.
DJ says if they didn't bring back Ready for Action, he's burning the lot. So I mean, we've got some very different things going on here. Some people are going to quit the game if it comes back. Some people are going to quit the game if it doesn't. I don't know.
We'd really like Ready for Action to come back, just purely so we can say Ready for Action.
I'm going to mount mine in a little frame on my wall, I think.
Yeah.
Marcel
So-
says he'd like to bring back stuff that benefits aggro play, like hidden paths. Maybe. I mean,
Yeah, I think there needs to be a balance, and I think they will. I think it will be more towards the control, but I do think they'll bring back some aggro stuff
Wigglefish
too.
said he hopes that they bring back the niche, useful, cool sort of cards that aren't too powerful, and I kind of agree with him.
Yeah.
I hope that's kind of the case.
Yeah.
Phillips
I'd-
asked, have
I'd
we
like
not
to-
been given a gift
Sorry.
pack for early review? No, sadly not.
Not yet, although we don't normally get it till just before it's available for pre-order.
Yeah, that is
So
true. If we
it'll
did
be a
get
little bit
something,
early.
it's
It'll be a little bit
usually
early yet for
it's
us.
usually like about the Thursday before pre-order if we get stuff,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
really
And is it-
helpful when we want to try and shoot a video.
Is it for pre-order? This for pre-order next week, isn't it? Or is it pre-order this week?
It might be this. No, it'll be next week. A week on
Next
Friday,
week.
I believe it will be.
Is it?
12 copies of
That's actually, yeah.
12 copies of Awakened Weapon.
Whose suggestion was
That
that?
was Jason.
Okay. Inspiration Strikes is another one I thought might come back. And Misdirection.
A reworded Extreme Flanks has been suggested by Baz. That would be a good idea. Actually,
It's
FAQ it,
Nightbolt,
so it's
though.
nicer. So it actually
It's
makes sense.
Nightbolt though.
Oh, that's a good
not
point.
Shades
That's a good
of-
point. It is a Nightbolt
Yeah.
one, yeah.
And Shifting Shards.
Oh, no, Wigglefish says it's this Saturday that we can pre-order. Is that 2 weeks early,
Okay,
though?
so
Because I didn't think they were coming out till the 29th.
23rd.
23rd?
No,
Wow,
it's
okay,
yeah,
shit.
3rd,
I mean, oops. I
Yeah.
mean, wow.
So, so the 23rd. So okay. So if we're going to get it, we'll probably get it tomorrow or Thursday. Otherwise, but stuff from GW never arrives on a Monday or a
Never.
Tuesday.
Which is helpful
True
when
story.
we want to do a battle report on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Shifting Shards.
Sorry, I'm moaning
I
here
think.
about us not getting free stuff. And I'm sorry, I should.
Yeah.
I take that back. I'm very grateful for all the free stuff we get. So.
Objective wise,
Yeah.
I think I'd like to see Cover Ground come back, and Determined Defender. Divide and Conquer, I think, is quite good fun. Making a Statement.
Oh yeah, making a
'Cause that's-
statement.
Making a statement, I think, will be good. And then for the offensive people, or offensive warband players rather than defensive people, Massive Assault and Master Stroke are more interesting in the precise use of force
Interesting.
and Advancing Strike. Pure Carnage, because who doesn't like Pure Carnage? And then the Tactical Supremacies 1 and 2 and 3 and
When
4.
we had the Despoiler versus Gits game, which I'm currently cutting at the moment, will be out this Friday for our Patreon supporters. Anyone in YouTube land who wants to see it, it's going to be coming to Patreon this Friday. And a second game will be coming to Patreon only. Sorry, I'll stop selling it now, but there you go. I really wanted Pure Carnage for my Despoiler deck on that one. So like I've got 6
definitely.
Despoilers and 9 Grots. I mean, it's a guaranteed score, isn't it?
Pretty much. I think we both could have taken that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then upgrades. There aren't so many upgrades, but I picked Army of One, Concealed Weapon, Cursed Artifact, and Demonic Weapon. Dark Darts to give people a bit of range who haven't got it.
Yeah, Darts,
Maybe Shade Glass Darts, but I think they'll probably keep away from the Shade Glass. Shard Caller. And then I wondered about the keys. I didn't know, would they bring back the keys? I think they probably won't, because if they're only going to have 10 upgrades, that's 6
Yeah.
before you've even started. And I don't know whether it might actually be a bit too powerful to have the Grimwatch with keys. Might be a bit much.
Possibly, but you can just focus on chopping the Grimwatch to pieces, maybe. So maybe it wouldn't be too bad. I mean, you've got to be alive at the end to use the key, right? So
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not talking. Yeah, obviously, you haven't got.
Ooh, light armor.
Idea.
Yeah, Andrew's just suggested
Oh,
light
light
armor. That
armor,
would be a
yeah,
good one. That was a
light
nice.
armor, yeah.
I always liked light armor
Yeah.
because it had that real double-edged sword. You know,
It did. It had a drawback
really
as well
nice
as an
downside
advantage.
to it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that card.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should bring back.
Yeah.
Someone did mention further up in
choice,
the
Andrew.
comments that it's disappeared into the flurry of comments now, which I am loving, by the way. That it does seem a bit confusing that GW rotate out a load of cards and then reprint a bunch of cards to allow you to use again. It just seems like printing money, and I do agree. It does feel a bit like that.
Well, I think I've heard that argument, and I do see the point. But I think in some ways they've done it this way, and it's actually the less avaricious way to do it, because if you've already got the cards and you haven't thrown them away, Andrew, you don't have to buy them. You don't have to buy them, because the ones you own just come back in and you can play with those, and that's fine. If you don't have them, it's 30 cards that they can, you can
Thank
buy
you.
and play with from before. And I think it's better than. I always assume they would have some repeats because games do. I mean, every game does it, and it's better this way that you're not suddenly finding light armor in your pack of Grimwatch or Awakened Weapon in your Ripper's Snarlfangers, because
nothing worse than having that in your
exactly,
Ripper.
yeah. So
It's not even
I
funny.
kind
I
of
don't know
feel
what I'm laughing at that.
I kind of feel that that's it's this way is actually the best way to do
I
it.
mean,
And if you don't want them, you don't buy
David
them.
does say it's not keeping the game fresh, and I can see what he means in that it's bringing back old stuff again. Although, I mean, we're all sitting here getting excited over cards that we haven't used for 4 to 5 months, and we're like getting a bit squealy about those.
But it's only 30 out of 400,
Yeah,
and
it's not masses.
I feel like actually they had to do something. There were some wording issues, and there were some cards that were too ubiquitous and too easy to score or too powerful, and the easiest way to do that was just to throw them all away. But that doesn't mean that all the cards didn't improve the game, and I think there are some, especially with the way they've got the new meta. There are some cards that if they reintroduced it will improve the game.
True, and I do think that they probably will exercise some level of constraint here, and they're not going to just print all of the broken cards. So I'm hoping we will see more balanced stuff that they didn't really want to remove us using completely, but it was easier, in some ways, easier to do it this way than printing a massive list of these are the cards from Season 1 you can still use and stuff like that. So it kind of sort of makes sense. And when you buy it, you do get the little board and some acrylic-y tokens and stuff as well. So, there's that bit.
I mean, they haven't done this game without any missteps at all, but they've been pretty good at adapting the game to make it better and cut down certain play styles and things that are getting too powerful. So I don't think that they will screw it up. I think the cards that they bring back will enhance the game. And then next week, when they brought back Rebound and Ready for Action, then I can eat those words.
Yeah, I think it is. They just have to be careful. And quickly, just to cover, Andrew was saying that the one time he decided to be sensible and chuck out a load of stuff that he didn't think he'll ever need again, he's now regretting that. And I hope you've learnt your lesson, Andrew. Never throw anything away.
Never throw anything away.
Anything games related must be kept forever.
Forever.
Philip Lancashire reckons that he thinks the new cards will be replicas of the old cards with new names, which means you'll have to buy them again. I don't know, because they did specifically say cards you haven't seen since Shadespire, so it does really hint that they're going to be Shadespire cards.
If they did that, then I would be really, really peed off. I think that would be
printing money for the sake of it. I think.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're not going to.
That suck.
And I'm hoping that the cards they bring back are the more balanced cards that didn't ruin the game, and so I'm hoping that they've thought about this one in advance.
They'll probably redo the Shadespire faction boxes now that half the cards in each box can't be played. No, I'm pretty sure they won't do that.
Probably not. Dead Hands asked, do we think they're bringing back these cards to make some of the Shadespire warbands relevant again? I don't know. I mean, I haven't played many of the other Shadespire warbands, but I think a lot of them have still got a fair amount of give in them.
I think some of the changes have actually made them more relevant already. I think we were talking the other day, Pete, that we haven't put this into practice, but we think the Reavers are probably pretty strong at the moment. We haven't tried to play them, but I think apart from that, they haven't got any wizards. Chased by warbands. I think they can compete.
More of the Beastgrave warbands coming out without casters as well. So Grimwatch don't have a caster, Snarlfang don't have a caster. There was one of the other ones we were pretty sure wouldn't have a caster.
The Despoilers have a shit caster.
The Despoilers have a very shit caster. Robin Sworn out.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry.
they do. They have a pretty rubbish caster as well. So I'm overall, I don't think casting is going to become the meta that it was in Season 2, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with it being a thing that you can utilise and not getting too crazy about. So Justin Mostyn says he wants to see Sepulchral Guard versus Grimwatch. Well, there's only one guaranteed way to get that, and that's become Patreon member, $10 level. You get to pick the matches. So,
or be me and Pete,
or be one of us two. Yep.
Which
I am looking for swapping my life with someone else. Anybody out there without kids, let me know.
Andrew thinks the Tactical Genius card should come back. No, I was looking at that. I was thinking they're rubbish. There's no way they're coming back. But maybe I'm wrong.
Tactical Genius. What was that one? Oh, like 1, 2, and 3, or 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember what the numbers were, but it was three numbered warbands. And
Who would want to be one of us?
cover ground.
Loads of people, dozens of people.
Andrew says cover ground would be a great card to come back.
You said cover ground would be a great card to come back.
I
You're
did.
just saying
Andrew
you're
said
great. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm awesome, Lee.
Oh, and he also he says to the leader cards count. I think they will count, and I think there is a reasonable chance that Quick Advance could come back because it is a good card, and it fits in with the more controlly meta that they're playing at the moment.
Yeah, that was a good card. Although there's another card that isn't in the leader's deck that does that, but you move 2 and then your opponent moves 1.
Yeah, I do like that one.
I think that they'll keep that over the leader's one because
that's true because it's better. I mean, not better. It's more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Red Rose Wargame just turn up. Hello.
Hey, hello, Red Rose. We talked about all the good stuff.
Many people have turned up and said hello. So we just need to start later, Robin. That's what I'm getting from this. So right, let's crash on with Rippers, I guess. Rippers Snarlfangs are next on the list, and we said
yes, everybody's keen to talk Rippers now. This really is hot off the press.
This really is
like literally stolen off the press almost.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're meant to be live on GW's site at the minute. I think they might have made a little bit of a snafu.
Yeah, do you think they do it deliberately? Yeah. I was wondering this. Do you think they do it deliberately so that we leak them and get excited? Yeah. Because they've done it twice now. So
we're all frothing over what these cards
didn't want to
have.
do it. If they didn't want to do it, they didn't. They don't have to, do they? So I feel like it's not a snafu. I feel like it's a.
I think it's intentional.
Yeah, deliberate marketing ploy.
Malachi wonders who we put up against Snarlfangs first. Well, that will be the choice of our patroners. They will get to pick those matches.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't discussed that at all, have we? No.
Tommy A says Rippers dice are a must buy. Shiny. Well, we bought a load of dice, and I realised that coloured dice hate me, so we went back to the black and the white ones. Plus, they're easier.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not an add-on sales type of person. They kind of get my goat. I don't need. I've got dice that work. I don't need to buy them. It's one of my things.
Yeah, although we might use the dice for something else, but that will be something for the new year. So I'm not so fussed about the dice. I had some of the cards, some of the card covers, and they all peeled off. They were rubbish. So I went to I can't remember what they were, Dragon or Ultimate Guard or something like that. Just a nice fetching green colour. I went with them in the end.
Philip says they do it deliberately to create excitement. Yes, I think you're right. I think they do.
And Jason points out that the normal dice hate me as well. That is very true. All dice hate me, in fact. Right, so let's crash on with the Ripper Snarlfang. So they are really interesting as a warband. They're not like anything we've seen before. There's 3 goblins and 3 wolves, and they have what I think most people were calling from the off, which is probably 2 attacks, which they have.
Yeah.
Every time one of the...
But not within your activation.
Yes, so you make an attack with the goblin, and then you can make an attack with the wolf as well, which I quite like. They don't have to be the same person, doesn't have to be the same target. You can just attack one person, then attack somebody else, and you know they're pretty solid. They're like 2 damage and either a hammer or 2 swords, so they can't be modified though. So
yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't done the maths to work out whether it's good to have this extra attack, even if it's rubbish. Because one hammer attack isn't very good, is it?
No, not great. But it's almost like a free attack, isn't it? So you almost don't factor that into your plan, and it's just a free extra attack. C. Mueller says that my sleeves peeled off because I'm a rough and salty player. Well, I actually hadn't used them in.
That's my comment of the night.
Well, that's a given anyway, yes, but we don't use, and lots of people out there will probably sort of dry heave and retch a bit when I say this now, but we don't use card covers when we play games because it's such a pain in the ass to have to unsleeve them all and then re-sleeve all the new ones, so we play without sleeves.
It's bad enough finding the bloody cards, let alone sleeving them all.
Very often does Robin have to go back from the garage to the house to pick up the rest of his deck that he forgot to take out of his folder. But anyway.
I have now had to shuffle with or deal my cards, shuffle and deal my cards, looking up at the ceiling because I can tell which one Feinway Crystal is.
I can as well. You can look at his pile, and one of the cards is very, very faded and scuffed. Yeah. So we may have to implement sleeves soon.
We may do.
So anyway, I'd like their inspire mechanic. The other 2 will inspire if you attack or kill the leader, and it doesn't have to be both either. So if your leader is the target of an attack or is out of action, so you don't have to. If you're going to go after him, you want to make sure you kill him, because if you don't kill him and then you attack and you inspire the other 2, that's just a real kick in the teeth, I think. So you want to either go after him and make sure you've got a one-shot wonder going off, or you want to ignore him and take the other two out first. And he inspires, the leader inspires, if he has 2 or more upgrades, which I quite like.
It's quite thematic. It seems to me it's quite hard, but perhaps I'm wrong. But it's not an easy inspire condition. I don't know, but BJ immediately says, "I'm pretty sick of these easy inspire conditions."
Well, I mean, the other two guys can't inspire unless you take the boss out. So, I mean, I personally, when I'm going after this warband,
he only has to be the target. He only has to be the target.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just not even going to target him first. I'm going to concentrate on burning down either of the other two, because then you're not going to have any he'll inspire once you get some upgrades on him. But you can just ignore him and go after the others for now. It's kind of my thinking.
I guess I don't know. Trophy Hunter is that's still available. It's not Trophy Hunter. The one Ghoulish Pact, I guess, might come back into that. That's still playable, isn't it? But Spoils of Battle isn't.
No.
Although Spoils of Battle is one I thought might come back because it's quite an interesting card. But
Marcel points out that it's not necessarily the easiest inspire. So I mean, not stab it. Ripper's inspire condition is pretty easy, only if your opponent decides to go after him. Otherwise, it's impossible to inspire him on your own terms, really, unless you use a card of some kind.
Yeah. Plenty of upgrades to force you to attack boss man. That's an interesting idea.
I think that's what you have to do. I think you just want to chuck all your upgrades on your boss, and then either your opponent has to go after him, or you've just got this guy running around with all these upgrades on, chopping people to pieces. So, yeah, there's definitely an interesting mechanic there between making you decide to whether you ignore someone or whether you go after someone. I'm quite surprised they don't move that fast. I mean, I say that fast. They move 4 and 5 when inspired.
But that's the new paradigm, isn't it? I think that's where the Shadespire warbands perhaps fall away a little bit. There isn't anybody yet in Beastgrave, is there, that moves 3? I don't think there is.
No, I think everybody's either moving 4 or 5. There's no 6s as yet that I can remember.
The bats are
6. That's right, when inspired, yes. But yeah, I mean, I would have thought these guys would be a base move 5 and inspired 6, because they're on a giant wolf, but they're actually no faster than a Reaver. So
it's very true.
Weird that. I mean, I know they're in like the ruins of a city and stuff. Well, no, they're in like a forest. So you would have thought on a wolf they'd be pretty fast. But they're no.
You would think, and I'm a little bit surprised it's not 5 and 6 actually.
Yeah.
But maybe I just haven't done the maths properly. I just look at these and they don't fill me with excitement at all. I wouldn't like to play them. I mean, Ripper's pretty good when he's inspired.
There's some conversation there about Turosh and Navia and their inspiration mechanics, which is quite good. And Anonymous Jeff is going to go and have to check the cards because he's pretty sure that they don't inspire.
In one of I think in the Patreon game we played, I think I inspired at least one of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Or is it spoilers? Yeah, both of them, yeah. So there you go. So it does happen. It was a bit of an accident, but it does happen.
Tommy A says that maybe the wolves have sciatica, quite debilitating. Could be.
Yeah, or maybe just thorny paws.
Yep.
Just out.
It's interesting to see that they all start with 1 shield and then they move up to 2 dodges when inspired. Now, obviously, that gives you a bit more of a chance of rolling crits, but I'm not sure it helps your survivability that much.
2 dodges. Well, yeah, I don't know. 2 dodges is well, it's not better than 2 shields, but
it's. I mean, 2 shields. Yeah. I don't know what the odds are on it. I mean, you've got 1 in 6 chances, or 1 in 3 chances because you've got the crit as well, versus a 1 in 4 chance. So I guess you've got it's a slight improvement. I guess one of the main things it gives you is the chance for more successes. So when you're throwing a lot more attack dice out there, you've got the chance of being able to get more saves in one go.
Yeah, 4 wounds is nice. Somebody's pointed out. Yeah, 4 wounds makes them a little bit hard to remove.
Yeah. They're not doing masses of damage though, are they?
No, they're not. Yeah, I guess 2 dodge with ensnare. 2 dodge isn't so good now as it was. Although not that many warbands have access to ensnare or reliable access to ensnare.
The Despoilers have got several fighters that get ensnare. I could be making that up now.
But they would still only count as one warband. And I said not very many warbands.
Sorry, right? Yeah,
I'm still right.
Yes, you are still right. Yes. Oh, I think all the warbands have a fighter within snare, but only like a fighter. So
Yeah, right, yeah. And obviously, retroactively, not very many do.
No.
So that's it's not too bad, but I think you're going to be likely to be fighting the Grimwatch, and there's who hasn't one of them hasn't snare in the Grimwatch, don't they? I can't remember who it is.
Yes, I think it's the Butcher who rolls 4 dice when he's inspired.
Okay, that's right. Yeah,
he's only 1 damage. Yeah. So it's like, so I mean, none of these guys.
So when they bring concealed weapon back, though,
so it's really interesting with 3 fighters how these guys are going to play, because they're faster than your Stormcast fighters. They've got a good threat range, as has been mentioned. Most of them have got like a range of 2. I think the only one who has only range 1 attacks is Ripper himself. But I think Ripper, once he gets inspired, gets a bow suddenly. I'm not sure why, but suddenly when he's inspired, he finds a bow. But it's still only a 1 damage attack, 2 swords, so it's not fantastic. But it'll be interesting to see how the extra speed, slightly smaller warband size goes here.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the attacks. He says, they can't be modified, but can you get rerolls on them? I'm not sure.
Interesting. Well, all it says is after this fighter's activation that included an attack action, other than this attack action, which means the Snarlfang's jaws.
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep attacking with the wolf. Make the Snarlfang jaws attack action. So.
But then it says the attack action. This attack before that.
I completely read it the wrong way around.
I don't know if you put a potion of rage on them. I don't know whether that counts. That adds dice, doesn't it? So that's not rerolls. If you put awakened weapon, I know you can't. But if you put awakened weapon on, which is a reroll, could you? I don't know.
I think you'll be able to use rerolls, just like I think you could use rerolls for Larval Lance, for example. I think that would be okay.
Yes, okay, yeah. So you can use a reroll, but not
so I think you can use that, but you couldn't use a potion of rage or something like that, or great strength, for example, that kind of thing. So you could use great strength to inspire, you could use great strength to increase Ripper's boss lopper when he's inspired to do 3 hammers and 3 damage, which is pretty bloody tasty, actually.
Yeah, that is good.
But Snarlfang's still only going to do 2 swords and 2 damage, but you could possibly be dishing out 5 damage there. That's pretty.
So Wigglefish has handily clarified that adding a dice as a modifier, but rerolls are fine, which is kind of where we were trying to get
to.
Is that
the FAQ? Anyway,
it's Wigglefish is the data aficionado. I wouldn't argue.
Wigglefish doesn't know isn't worth knowing.
Exactly.
Philip asks, is it only the Snarlfang attack that cannot be increased? Correct. It is only the Snarlfang attack that cannot be modified in any way. So the Wolves attacks, which is like either 2 swords, 2 damage, or something like that, or 1 hammer, 2 damage, is pretty much just always like that.
Oh, it's in the rule book. Wigglefish says
rule book. Oh, look at you in your rule book. I'm going to read now.
Is it really? Goodness me. We'll have to take your word for that. I did read it once, but I'll have to take your word for that.
I tried reading once, didn't enjoy it. No, good point. Yeah, it probably isn't there. I don't think I've ever actually read this version of the rule book. I think you read it. And then we pulled out the bits where we're like, oh, these are new, these are changes and everything, and then we
you kind of, it's dangerous when you're reading an updated book, because you assumptions.
It was a bit like in the last season where there was that big change where it's like, oh, if your fighter dies and then they get brought back alive, they can charge again, and that was kind of nobody noticed that to start with. It wasn't until I think GW themselves released an article which was 10 interesting things, and like 9 of them were all absolute dogshite, and the last one was the fact that if you bring a character back who's died, they can charge again, and it was like, what?
There was a question here I wanted to mention, or something else. An observation. I've lost it.
Larval Lance is not reduced by Madness Darts. That kind of makes sense because you can't modify it, and that would modify it.
The wolf attack will collide with Pit Trap, and if you push, the wolf can't attack.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, is it?
I think it's more. I don't know if it will clash with. I don't quite what you mean by collide with Pit Trap, because Pit Trap isn't after the activation, is it?
Because Pit Trap is when you push them back, but that's after an attack action that pushes a fighter back, isn't it?
I think, oh yeah, but it will if you do push them back. I think you can't do the wolf
But
attack,
no,
can you?
because the wolf. Well, if you push them back, correct, you wouldn't be able to attack them then because they'd be too far
Which is
away. But
interesting.
if you
So
had,
sometimes you do want to push back,
but
but
if you had,
I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, Pete. I'm not sure I'd rely on a wolf to push my opponent back. That's an
yeah,
interesting. That would be an interesting conundrum. I think you'll probably never want to push back for the first
but
attack because you'll want to try and get your second
these
one in.
guys
But
have that real ability now. If Ripper, when he's inspired, for example, or no, even uninspired, he's got a 2 hammer 2 damage attack and a 1 hammer 2 damage attack. If you could run that guy into a position where he's next to 2 different ghouls, you could possibly kill 2 people if you were a bit lucky. And no other warband has that
yes.
capability to take out multiple
No, that's
opponents
true.
in one go
Yeah,
and really start to
yeah,
spread damage out. That could be quite
yeah.
useful, especially against these more
As I
numerous
mentioned,
warbands.
as I mentioned on Facebook, and I know that you can't score it before I say it again, keep chopping is going to cause all sorts of people asking
Yeah.
whether they can score it in 2 attacks with these
Yeah.
guys, because it's just inevitably will.
Yes. It's important
So-
to note here that the wolf's attack happens after the activation. So it's
Yeah.
after the activation, but before the power step. So there's like this whole new mini wolf bite phase. After activation, wolf bite, power step.
Yes, there's an upgrade that means you can follow up Blood Bowl style. Yes, there is. Yes.
Yes, there was, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Oh, Wigglefish has done some maths on the wolf attacks of Well of Power. That was quick, Wigglefish. If anyone is
Do bung a
interested,
link
I'm
in,
definitely
bung a
interested.
link in.
And once I finish with this fall here, I shall go and have a look.
And Philip's just gone, Gobbo and wolves killing 2 adjacent enemies, mind blown. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
that
that
was
likely, but
impressive.
if you're next to some gits or some ghouls or something like that, you could start chomping through quite a few people.
Marcel has said, and he's absolutely right. They will have an easy version of Keep Chopping as a warband specific card. Yeah, I think that's a good call,
That is a good
Marcel.
call.
I almost wonder whether you're not really Marcel, but in fact John Bracken or something like that. I think that's a good call.
I think Jason says we now officially have a wolf bite phase. I think it needs to be called the Bork phase. So we've got activation, Bork phase, and power step. So let's just get our
You heard it here
terminology
first.
correct.
I think Marcel's prediction is more accurate than yours. So that's good. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think Marcel will be right.
What? No, shut up. Anyway. Whatever. C. Muley says you can still use pit trap stuff for the wolf's attack. Yep, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. That should be fine.
The whirling goblin will prevent the wolf to attack by inspiring.
I'm lost. What do you mean, David?
I think he means that because when does the only 1 round, but when does the goblin inspire? Is
he
it after an
inspires
activation?
after react. Yeah.
So-
Yes. So
So you stop. So if you charge with your first go, anything after that, the goblin will probably be inspired. If you charged on your first turn, you wouldn't necessarily get the wolf attack.
and that's a good point. Yep. And Wigglefish pointed out they're good for keeping guessing because you can get a charge and then an attack in. So 2 activations
Yes.
straight away, very nice. Although they are your 2 main things you want to do. So next round you're going to have to do a move, and then I guess a guard at some point or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, Snurk's reaction will block it. I completely forgot about how Snurk inspires because I think everyone just forgets about Snurk.
That's what we set up for the gits. This was like, oh, he's not inspired at the beginning, is he?
Oh no, I completely forgot.
so long since we played them. So that was quite funny.
So
Keep them guessing is auto include. Yeah, I think it might well be. Keep chopping, not so.
Yeah, no, but well,
there's only 3 of them.
there is only 3. It will be hard to pull off, I'll grant you. And by hard, I mean near impossible. But you never know, because you might have some push cards in there. There might be a wolfy kind of push card of run across the field and bite someone's ankles.
Could have like a sprint equivalent, couldn't they? Be quite good.
Yeah. I think like Wigglefish says guard, move, charge. Yeah.
That's
Quite
true.
often you want to start with
Because
a
you get your
guard, give
attack.
yourself a canny start, so your opponent has to make the first move.
Especially when you've only got 3 people.
Yes, that's true.
Sometimes dropping the first, a sneaky guard at the beginning isn't a bad thing to do.
Especially if they end up bringing out a new version of something like Change Tactics or something like that.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm quite looking forward to the Wolves.
Me too.
I'd say when I first saw the models, because I think they were the first ones they previewed and then completely passed over whilst they did all the ghouls and stuff, I was kind of a bit to start with them, but now I've seen them, looking forward to them. I think they're another warband where the models haven't really inspired me, and I'm really going to have to do something about Ripper's sword, because I do not like that sword he's got.
Is that your Inspire condition? Sees decent models.
Yep.
That's probably even easier than the Wild Hunt's Inspire condition.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to have to change his sword. I'm going to have to find something a bit more. I don't know. I just don't like the sword he's got. But I think they're another warband, a bit like the Gauls, where I'm not massively excited by the models, but now I've seen the fighters themselves, and because they have such a different play style, I'm excited to see how they're going to play on the field.
Yeah. David said, would a charge count for a charge and an attack action? It would for these guys if they could do the reaction, but it doesn't normally. No. It's normally just
normally it's a super
charge.
Action, so that's a charge.
So you have to do a charge. You have to do a charge and a move, not as part of a charge. You don't get 2 for 1 with a charge.
The latest spell, Crazy Legs, has a lost page key. Crazy Legs, where was that?
It's the one you like, Marzag's Crazy Legs, whatever it's with the spidery thing. I think Lost Page is like Poison, Philip. I think it's going to be like a Cataphrane tome, like they're all tomes.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be there's going to be some sort of objective card which enables you, like, I don't know what it might be. I think I called it something like Keeper of the Folder before. You basically put the pages in.
Owner of the W.H. Smith binder.
That's something like yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
Keeper of the whole bunch.
Some people have already pointed out that Ripper did enter the Beastgrave to find the new sword. There was a big shiny hacker or something that he'd been given a vision from Gorka Morka rather.
Did he?
He'd been given the vision. That's
why. You've been reading the lore.
Sorry.
Have you been reading the lore?
I did read the lore. Well, it's on the
Okay.
page because the whole warband, all the information's up for them already. Someone didn't sneak these pictures out. They've literally just released the whole warband release on the Underworld's page.
Oh, I see. Oh, I thought it was sneaked out.
No. Well, it was kind of sneaked out. They just released I
see. I thought it had been. Okay. I thought somebody had stolen it off again.
So he's off there looking for a shiny new sword, but I'm afraid I might have to give it to the model beforehand, because that sword he's got sucks. I don't like the end of it. I don't know why it's got this weird. I don't know what that is. It kind of looks a little bit like a scimitar, but at the same time, it doesn't look anything like a scimitar. I'm not sure.
No, he looks like, I'm not sure what it looks like. Keeper of the Folder, that's it. Yeah. Right, it's nearly 11:30.
We probably need to start
for us to stop talking. There was I've still got a review to finish by morning, so I wish be a little bit of time yet. But I would like to go to sleep. So I think we've finished.
Yes.
And we will no doubt be back next week with hopefully some more information about Ripper and the new Beastgrave cards, we might know which 30 are coming back, or how many are coming back.
Maybe we'll know by then.
Very exciting, and we could be outraged. Some of you might have torn up your collections and thrown them all away, but don't do that. If you are going to do that, please send your Shades by cards to Andrew, in case he wants them.
Jason Neal is just singing Judas Priest song, reading the law. Fun fact, that was one of the first songs I'd learnt in my band back in the day when I was in a band, and we played that song to death. So
and they were banned.
So thank you all for tuning in, coming along, asking your questions, chipping in with all the questions and everything like that. It's been absolutely awesome. I love seeing the chat channel filling up with everybody's comments.
I've been flicking between screens today. I didn't see how many people we have. We've got 36 watching, which is probably more ahead of the end. Wow. Well done. Thanks, guys.
Anybody who isn't a Patreon member, do go check it out. It's in the links in the description. There's extra games on there, extra chat and stuff. You do get a chance to pick some matchups, all that kind of thing. It's all good. So do check it out. Everything helps us get
better. We've been invited to a tournament in Kiel on the 23rd. I think that's Kiel, Germany, or Switzerland, or somewhere. Me and you. Could you please, guys, visit us on a tournament in Kiel on the 23rd? Please, it'd be really great, wouldn't it?
But anyone who's going to the Grand Clash in January, we're going to be there, hopefully.
We are going to be there.
And anybody who, we're going to organise something nearer the time, because we'd like to go. I don't think any of us can survive. I don't think either of us two are going to survive playing competitively for 2 days. But we might try and organise a bit of a Patreon, YouTube meetup.
Lucky if I manage to play competitively for half an hour
for one game. So maybe we'll try and organise something on the Sunday and just meet up and have some more friendly games and chats and some chips.
Have some bacon sandwiches.
And chips.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh yes, chips. Ooh, got to get the chips in. We do like tea. We love the tea.
Robin likes the tea. I don't mind coffee. But either which way.
Yeah.
Of course, anybody who's going, we'll see you there. But more importantly, hopefully, we'll see you next week. And maybe we might have a more updated, slightly better quality stream. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So we'll see you soon in the Beast Grave. Bye.
Bye.